Hey everybody, hope you all are doing good. Karibu sana to my YouTube channel. My name is Lynn, and yes, this is the second episode of What Goes Unsaid. And if you haven't checked the first episode of What Goes Unsaid, it's somewhere on my YouTube videos. Just have a look at it and let me know what you think about the first episode of What Goes Unsaid. And I'm just so grateful that you made your time to be here with me. And if you're new here, this is a safe space where we talk about everything and anything concerning mental health awareness, body positivity, and etc. Positive vibes utazipata hapo, okay? So yes guys, karibu sana, feel at home, and let's get right into what we are supposed to talk about today. And yes, on our second episode, we're gonna talk about fear. And when I say fear, I mean the kind of fear that you are just thinking about right now. And I came to discover that 99% of human beings don't realize that they fear something until they come face to face with that something that they fear. And you know what's the best part is that you can learn how to live with fear, like kind of try to cope with it, kind of try to make a room for it, in your life, in your head, in your in your thoughts and everything else. And most of us don't realize that we are so afraid of something, as I said, until you come face to face with that something. And for me, when I was younger, I think everybody has that kind of something they feared when they were super young. Like super young, you had that one thing you had to fear. Like you could see it, you could scream out and just cry and freeze there and just kind of be scared of, what is it gonna eat me? Is it gonna do this to me? Is this gonna be this and that? And to me, I used to be afraid of goats. Yeah, I know, it's super funny because I used to be afraid of goats and the pusher mill sound. Have you ever gone to a pusher mill where they start sounding the machine when the machine is in progress of doing something? The sound that it just has, because it has a very huge sound, you can hear it maybe some foot away, and you could like listen to the sound because it was super big and loud. And I used to see goats and I would cry. Like I would super cry my heart out, and I would call my mom and tell her, Mom, I know this god, it's a god and it's gonna kill me, it's gonna eat me, this and that, this and that. Oh my god. My mom would just laugh at me and be like, don't worry, this is just a ghost, it's not gonna hurt you, it's very friendly, you should actually touch it. And when she says just touch it, I would even cry louder than I did before. And yeah, I didn't realize the whole concept of the whole thing about fear until I turned into, I guess, my early teens, that teen apple, and I was like, okay, so I understand this, and that is what happens, like that's what goes on. And now I could take, like, even now I can take myself to a push on me and just laugh myself, or maybe I'm going with a friend, I'll be like, yep, I used to be afraid of this, and she'll be like, oh, what, this and that. And I never really understood the concept of fear, as I said, until I turned into my early teens. So what were you fearful with when you were younger? Because I believe we all have fear things. Like we all have things that made us feel scared about ourselves. Things that maybe looked so bigger, but now you are older, you kind of get the whole concept of fear and you kind of know this and that is how it works. And that's really okay. That's really okay. But to me, I think the most dangerous part about fear is when you fear yourself. Like when you fear about the whole things that you can do as a person, things that you can make with yourself, or just the thoughts that you create in your head, you can do this, but the fact that you are very fearful with the things you can do, I think that's the most dangerous thing about fear. And we kind of end up losing our lives because we were so afraid of doing some things that we thought we couldn't, because we were scared of trying them. And that just scares me too until now. When you're so afraid of doing something, that's gonna help maybe one day or maybe any day, and you kind of don't know how to start that thing because you don't know the outcomes, you don't know the whole thing, whether it's gonna help you or not. And you're just scared of being there, being present with yourself, and you don't have the advantage to kind of have the view before you even do it. And we just kind of try to run away from ourselves because of the fear that we have within ourselves. Like when you go to a room where you know exactly that this is the place that I belong, this is the place that I should be, but I don't have an idea of how much space I can take because I don't have the full concept of the capability I have. But deep down within you, you know what you're capable of, but the fear that you have kind of swallows the whole thing about knowing what the kind of things you can do and everything else, and you end up not trying them because you were afraid of doing shit that you knew you could do, but you were so scared of doing them. And I think we kind of try so hard to cover that, to bury that fear, and to kind of just pretend it's not there. But I think when the fact that you start pretending the fear is not there with you, I think it's the moment that you kind of just allow it to swallow you whole. And I think for me, what has helped me really a lot is trying to make room for the things that make me so afraid about myself, afraid about the world, afraid about the daily doings. Maybe when I'm going to work, when I'm talking to people, when I'm doing this and that. I think it's making a room for that fear. I think it's just having it there with you, knowing that it's there with you every day, every moment of your life, but you kind of try to cope with it, you kind of try to make a room for it. And I think when you realize that you have this kind of a certain fear, I think when you come in terms of, yes, I'm afraid of this, but we can work together. Because for me, I don't think fear is something that comes overnight. It's like, hey, hi, dear friend, I have been here. I had missed you, Nini. I think fear is something that you are born with sometimes. And most of the times, fear is something that you kind of develop in a certain environment that you were living. You kind of pick it from some places that you were living, or the things that were happening around you, and maybe you were just born with it, and that's okay. And I think for me, fear has always been there with you, and it's just that it's just decided to rebel once in a while, and it's like, hey, you have forgotten about me, so I'm gonna be this and that to remind you that I'm here with you. Now that's the fear that is talking to you. It's just not something that just occurs from anywhere. It's something that you have always had, every time, every day. You just didn't realize it was there. And just trying to make a room for it, I think it helps so much with it. I think it does help. Can you just try this? And when you do, just tell me what you will think about whether it's gonna help you with that. Because the moment you run away from it, the moment you try to bury it down, kind of trying to make it disappear, and you can't totally make it disappear, it's gonna be like rebelling more, bigger and stronger than before. It's kind of gonna try to make you realize that you aren't that stronger anymore, because the fear will make it super strong for you to kind of not realize how strong you are, you as a person, without the fear, without the whole scary stuff that make you feel super scared. And we kind of forget that everybody fear one or two, three things, and most of us will fear things that don't, maybe things that we don't see every day, but you just hear about them and you're like, yeah, this is happening, this is gonna happen. The things that don't really happen every day, but they are just there. And most of us just maybe just try to kind of live with the fear, but you are gonna try to forget about it once in a while. And I think for me, you kind of have to make a room, as I said. You have to make a room for it. You're gonna have to make a space for the fear to kind of be there with you, and try to cope with it every day. Every day you are alive, you're gonna try to make it work with you, because if you don't, it's gonna kind of swallow you whole. As I said, it's gonna make you feel more invisible, more not okay, more not capable of doing this and that. And I think, to me, as I say, guys, the most dangerous fear we can have is to fear ourselves. Yes, if you agree with me, just comment below. Do you think that's the most dangerous fear we can have? Because to me, yes. If you fear your capability, if you fear your everything, like your whole being, because you really do know how capable you are, what kind of limits you can go to, and you kind of fear yourself because of the things that you people have been saying, because of the things that you see around happening, and the projection that the community have within people. And I think you kind of try to bury yourself down there because you're not sure of how much space you want to take. And as I said, it's the most dangerous fear a human being could ever have within herself or himself. And as I said, guys, most of us are born with fears, and most of us just kind of pick it up from the places that we have grown with, and we kind of try to just we kind of pick it. We don't even realize that you are picking that kind of fear, like maybe for instance you were raised, born, and you grew in a very toxic environment. When I say about toxic environment, I talk about a place where as a child you didn't have your own freedom to express yourself, your own freedom to be yourself, your own freedom to talk about anything and everything that was bothering you as a kid. And those kind of places made you feel like you don't have to open your mouth, say something that is helpful, or say something that is gonna make you feel good about yourself. You are kind of shut, and you grow up fearing your voice, like knowing very well, I can say something incredible, I can make changes with my voice, but you fear the outcome of trying to project you by trying to kind of be yourself in a certain places, and you have no idea of how much space to take. And the other part is people do kind of try to take the whole fear thing like something very normal. Yes, it's normal. Fear is a normal thing. Everybody has fear. But there are places where you can just feel like you're not supposed to be fearing anything, which is super super not okay. Because for me, I think it's a normal thing. I know it's a normal thing to have fear. It's really okay. You're gonna relax, you're gonna be okay, you're gonna do this great and all of that. But there are places where fear is not allowed 100%. But like if you try to kind of tell them, oh, I can't do this, you might lose your job, or you might lose whatever you are trying to have around there, because they don't believe that you as a person, you're not supposed to be having fear of anything, which is super not okay for people to do that to people, to other people. Like I think for me, everybody fears things that we don't see, or others we see them. And I think it's high time people try to kind of appreciate human beings, other human beings, the way they are. You just carry people the way they are. If I see you at a certain way, I think that's how I'm gonna see you. Like that's who you are. You can't change. That's how you have been, that's how you will always be. And I think we're trying to project our lives into other people. It's not fun, it's not good thing at all. And I disagree with anybody who tells you that you are not capable of doing anything and everything that you have been planning in your head, or you have been just visualizing in your head and being like, I can do this. And if your mind can think, like help you see all of that, what the hell is stopping you from getting all the things that you have been dreaming about? Because the fear that we have within ourselves is fucking super dangerous. And I think we just kind of forget that you as a person, you are not the same with the other person, or with your friend or your family member or anything like that. You are you on yourself, with your thoughts, with your capabilities, with your energy, with your everything. I think you're just you differently from other people. And I think you just have to stand by yourself sometimes to realize that you are capable of doing things a different way, bigger things in a different way. And I think we just try to kind of not make it super exciting with the fear thing, with the whole concept of, yeah, I'm afraid of something, but why am I afraid of it? And there's nothing more scary than that, being scared of something but not having a fucking 100% idea of why I am scared of something. As I said, guys, I was super scared of goats, and until now I have never, okay, maybe I have understood a little bit of why I was so scared of goats when I was super younger, but I have never gotten 100% clue of why I was super afraid of the goats. Because one, I was thinking to myself, it was bigger than me. Yes, I was super tiny when I was younger, so it was bigger than me. The second one, it was just looking straight up to me, like just straight into my eyes, and I could find myself thinking, oh, you're looking at me because you want to eat me next before you finish eating that grass, right? And this third one, which doesn't even make sense, is that you have fur, like you have all this fur on your body. Second, you have forelegs. That you have these long ears that kind of flip when they feel like it, but I don't have all that. Now that is the funny part. We feel something that makes us feel different within ourselves. And when I'm just getting to realize the whole concept of fear, now I'm getting a little bit of the whole concept of fear. I was fearing this thing because it made me feel smaller, because it looked at me in a very different way. Maybe it made me feel different. So I kind of took that fear, I kind of projected myself, and I kind of just took the whole idea that this God is gonna eat me once upon a time and I'm just gonna die. But now that I realize the whole concept of fear, I'm like, okay, and it's a funny fear, but I'm telling you guys, I was super scared of goats. Yani, anything that made me feel smaller, I would just be like, no, I don't want to be there. Anything that was super huge, I would be like, no. But as I said, no, most of us don't realize that we fear things until we come eye to eye with them, face to face with them. And I'm still trying to figure out why I fear girls. And now, honestly, I'm in love with animals, any kind of animal. I just love goats right now. They are super kind. They're super, I don't know, they are just super fluffy and very beautiful in a way, in their own way. And if I could tell myself, my younger self right now, I'd be like, hey, don't worry. Yes, fear is there. It's never gonna go anywhere. What you have to do is try to cope with it every time you live. Every time you exist, you have to try to make a room for it, because if you don't, then it's gonna make you feel more smaller, more, it's gonna just kind of swallow you whole. It's gonna make you feel like, yes, you need to be fearful. And as I said, yes, fear is there. We're gonna have fear for the rest of our lives. It's there. It's never gonna go anywhere. Honestly, I'm just speaking honesty here. But what we have to do is try to make a space for it. So what was that kind of a one fear, two fear, or three fear maybe that you had when you were younger? Like those kind of things that made you feel super scared of waking up every day, of walking to the market every day, of seeing something every day, and you're like, no, I can't do this anymore. But now you're older, you kind of have the whole idea of, I was scared because of this and that. Aside from me, the God made me feel smaller. The passion meal made me feel kind of lost in a way, and I just didn't realize that until I was older. And until now, my mama kind of calls me and tells me, "I'm still afraid of the passion meal," and I'm like, yeah. And in a fun way, I'm like, yay, but not really that much. And I'm like, I just laugh at myself. I just laugh at myself. And yeah, I was just super scared of the things that look so huge onto my eyes, and I'll be like, no, I can be there. I can do this and that and that. And yes, guys, we are so scared of something. And as I say, just comment below, what were those three things that you were so afraid of? They made you feel so scared about yourself when you were young. And there's nothing more funny, beautiful, innocent, and incredibly miraculous than a young person's brain, young person's mind. It's a huge amount of another universe, because I believe when we are young, there's a certain age that you kind of try to adventure, you're so curious of the things that you see around, and you're like, I want to know what kind of these things do, how does they work, how do they work, how can this and that move this and this, how is this and that do this and that, and how can this and this help someone with this and that. And we are so curious with the things that we don't really realize that we should be curious about, but we just end up having the curiosity within ourselves, and we're like, yes, we're gonna kind of learn two or three things, and we end up learning about them. And yes, we just don't realize how much capability we have until you try to step up for yourself, until you try to kind of pick the fear up and you just put it together with yourself, and you kind of make a room for it, and you kind of move on with the fear together. I think that will help you. It has helped me a lot to kind of make space with the fear. It will help you too, I believe so. So yes, just try to kind of not be so scared of yourself, because as I said, that is the worst fear in this universe. So try to kind of move on with the fear together. Kind of just try to make a room for it. Kind of try to make space for it, and when you do that, I think it's gonna really help. I believe it's gonna help. And if it does, just let me know how you will cope up with fear. Let me know how you try to kind of live with it every day, every month, every second of your life. How do you cope up with your fear? How do you kind of deal with your fear? How does it help you, the coping up situation, the whole thing about living with it? How will it help you? How does it help you? How do you manage it? Or how do you deal with it? Because as I said, fear is never gonna go anywhere. You just have to make a room for it, as I did. And now I'm living with my fearful things every day of my life. And I think for me, now that I'm older, I'm in my early 20s, I think what I fear now is failing. And I know it's not a good fear. Like when you do something to by yourself, or when you do something to kind of have a growth within yourself, and then you kind of, the results are not the same. Okay, for instance, have you ever gone to auditions and then you kind of gave yourself the best audition ever, like you killed it, you did it, but funny thing, you didn't get the part, and now you're sitting on your screen watching someone playing the same lines, the same character that you had auditioned for, or you had booked for. Now the funny part is that, take that whole concept of seeing something that you wanted so badly, and now to your realistic life you didn't get the part. And I think to me, that fear hasn't, it's just so terrible, it's so big in my head, and I know it's not supposed to be there, but I'm just scared of failing. I think I'm just scared of failing. And I know anyone who is in their 20s right now, I know you can agree with me. We are so scared of failing. We are so scared of not doing our best. We are so scared of not having whatever we worked hard for, or whatever we want. And you kind of take it to in your head so hard. You kind of go hard on yourself, and you're like, yeah, I didn't do that. Wow, I'm just gonna lose this and that. And I'm trying so hard to tell myself that I'm not supposed to be so hard on myself when it comes to the whole thing about fearing the things that I can't control, and I'm just realizing now that you kind of have to be okay with yourself. You kind of have to try to kind of be gentle with yourself every day you are living. You kind of have to kind of be there with yourself, bringing the whole positive vibes within yourself, because no one can give you the things you want until you decide to get them. So drop the fear, just try to cope with it, just try to live with it, and just everything's gonna work out. So what was that one thing you were so scared of right now as an adult? But what are the things that you kind of fear every day about your life, about your future, about your everything? Because we are so scared of things that we don't even understand that we should be scared of. And yes, guys, it has been a nice talk. I'm grateful that you made it up to here and you took your time to watch until the end. I'm grateful. I'm always grateful. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for sitting with me and having these bold conversations about ourselves, about life, and about everything else that is around us. I don't take you for granted. I love you all. Continue. Just may God continue blessing you in any way, okay? And yes, guys, it's our end of our second episode, and it was the second episode. Oh my, it was the second episode of What Goes Unsaid with Lin. I've had so much fun. Karibu sana for the next episode. So I'll be doing this. I'll be trying to drop new videos every once in a week. So yes, expect more of this content once in a week. And as I said, if it helps you, make sure it helps someone else out there. Don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, don't forget to share out there with anyone who want to hear these words. Just share with them, let them know they are not alone when it comes to fear. We all have fear, and they are gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay. And just continue following me in other social medias. I will be putting them down there. You can connect with me anyhow, any way you want on my other social media handles. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being here. I am Lin. May you and I meet here next time with our third episode of What Goes Unsaid. Have a good time. See you guys. Love you.